All right, we're gonna wait a few minutes, give people a chance to get in here. Hope everybody's had a good week thus far. All right, anyways. On movements. Well, hello. How you doing tonight? Hopefully you're doing well. We're just waiting for waiting a few minutes to give people a chance to come in here. If you can like and share the stream before we get started, and of course, always feel free if anything that in the articles that we talk about tonight, if there's anything that catches your interest or something you want to make comment on, um, feel free to do so. And if you have any questions, I can answer them as best I can. We're just waiting a few minutes to give people a chance to get in here and all that. So I hope you had a good day today, or having a good week. Anyways, we'll be getting to things shortly here. Let's see. Thank you for the like and share. Dashing and daring, courageous. Well, I've been saying that a lot lately. In fact, that's on the new trailer that the guitar instrumental version of that song is on the trailer that Chris Tomolovich did for me. In fact, maybe what I can do is kind of a little entertaining thing here. And go see if I can grab that. Let's see. Yeah, so let me show you something here of interest that one of my YouTuber friends put up for me recently, or put together for me recently, a little trailer. Let me see if I can. I guess I should allow. And on that as well. And I can figure out. Let's see. Oh, share tab audio. Okay, it's already hooked in there. Okay, I didn't realize that. Anyway, so this is a little trailer that Chris Tomolovich did for me. Why don't we go ahead and let's see. Go ahead and check it out here. We're just gonna wait, give people a chance to get in here before we get started. Actually, Woody, it's not exactly an intro. It's actually just a more just a trailer. Um, Chris Tomolovich did it for me. Chris Tomolovich did it for me. The last few days there. We got 4 people in here, and we're already coming up on 6 minutes. So I get okay, back down to 3 people. All right. Well, as it would seem, it'd probably be a good time then to go ahead and hey, accent looks good. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, you should really thank Chris Tomolovich. He was the one who actually did it. It was pretty cool. And considering that I'm more substance over style too, that was a very superb trailer, and I do appreciate him doing that for me. So, anyways, now so tonight we've got like 9 articles we're gonna go through, plus a couple of um a little wrestling thing. I do thank you guys for the likes and shares. Um Hopefully we can get some more friendly people in here. So tonight, we got 9 articles we're gonna go over. 2 from Bounding into Comics, the other 7 from CBR. We got 4 comics related articles and a big fan of substances. Yeah, well, Woody, I think if you understand, I was referring to the old saying style over substance. I'm more substance over style, as it were, meaning that I don't have a whole lot of like, I don't really know how to do a whole lot of the editing stuff. So it's like what you see a lot of times is just what you get. It's pretty simple. Um, yeah, so Um, we got some commentary from Tom Capetti, I believe. Capiti. Let's see. Let's see. Or David Campiti explains what's going wrong in the comic book industry. Chuck Dixon has some words for us. I know that the Captain America comic #1 recently sold as well. Um, Oh, let me see. Let me actually see all this as I go through, remind myself of what we have on tap for tonight. All right, so aside from the 2 things I talked about already, let me see. Let me just remind myself here a bit. Let's see now. Also, Boom Studios Grim #1 is coming out with some variants. Um, Also, the first ever Captain America comics recently sold for over $3 million following a bidding war. Um, on the anime side of things, among the stories, of course, Yona. We're going to talk a little bit about Yona of the Dawn. Why, at least in one writer's opinion, it's deserving of a second season. See, aside from that, we've also got a little look at Iyashike anime series and where you can watch them. The Urusei Yatsura reboot drops a new teaser trailer and casting details. Let's see. Also, we've got Shoujo demand is surpassing available anime franchises, says Crunchyroll, and Daimon is a recipe for happiness, promises to be the sweetest slice of life in years. So, got some interesting articles to go over tonight, and of course, got some WWE and AEW news, of course. So, get into that here in a moment as soon as I get back to everything. All right, let me see now. Let's see. Who's the video? The video maker was Chris Tomolovich. Um, he's a comic artist. He's been on RJ's stream before. He and his wife. Right now they've got a book coming out called book they're working on called Trolls Exposed. He's also done the Great Cyclopean and Cluster Fudge. So anyways, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started on the articles then? We're already past the 10 minute. We're already past 11 minutes, so got people in here now. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right. All right. So here's the first article we're going to go over, which is actually from yesterday. Comic book veteran David Campiti explains what's going wrong in the comic book industry. Article by John F. Trent, published yesterday, April 6, 2022. Comic book veteran David Campiti, the co author of the ongoing crowd-funded graphic novel Ascendant, recently discussed what he thinks is going right and what is going wrong with the current state of the comic book industry. Send it right here. Campiti spoke with Ascendant creator Alexander Macri, and his interview was shared to Ascendant's Indiegogo crowdfunded campaign as an update. As part of the interview, Campiti first shared his long history in the industry, saying, quote, I've done nearly every job in the biz except actually draw. Wrote, edited, art directed, published, inked, colored, designed, did layouts, created series. I've even voiced and produced cartoons. This guy's a bit of a jack of all trades, isn't he? Let's see. He continued, quote, I've written for Superman, Beauty and the Beast, Dark Shadows, Lost in Space, Pandora's Blogs, Exposure, lots more. I've two graphic novel series, Goddess Girls and Heroes in Training, showing up in bookstores this month from Simon and Schuster, unquote. Quote, I've written 10 of those graphic novels so far. I also have 6 graphic novels about Greek mythology rolling out from Abdo Books later this year. I even got the chance to help write a chapter in Ascendant, so that's really cool to be a part of that, Campiti concluded. Woo! Ascendant Star Spangled Squadron. Next, Campiti detailed what is going right and what is going wrong in the industry. First, he relayed what he believes is going right. What's going right is that um, new publishers are still popping up, unquote. Then he revealed what's going wrong. Quote, what's wrong is the direction it's all going in the 60s comics were cheap and everywhere, easy for kids to find, unquote. Quote, comics in the 90s and had something like 8,700 comic shops to sell through, plus some newsstands. But now it's shrunk down to more like 1,200 comic shops, a real niche market. Comics should be huge because of the comics movie base, literally making billions, unquote, he added. See. Let's see. On the Cyclopean. Oh, the Cyclopean guy. The great set of shoulders underneath the eyeball. Yep, that's him, Woody. That's the guy who did the promo for me. And again, it's a superb trailer considering that, as I said, I'm more substance over style. I don't have a lot of big editorial. Did someone say neat? Well, they did in the article there. I was just reading what they wrote in the article there. Yeah, they said neat. They're basically saying that that modern comics is becoming more of a niche market instead of being, a huge mainstream market. Because that's where he was going with it. Campidi would also point to the content of a lot of comics as well. Quote, what's more, so many of today's comics seem to feel as though the fun, the joy, has been sucked out of them. Unquote. Uh huh. Yeah. As I know Yellow Flash has talked about on a number of occasions, and so it's Tug and a few others, you know, whole idea of trying to push real world issues into comics when comics, for most people who read them, are meant to be an escape from all those headaches. You know, when I read a Superman story, I want to see him save the day. I want to see him do good. I don't want to see him like sitting there protesting climate change. And I sure as hell don't want to see him, you know, or even have to even think about him, getting on all fours with another guy. I don't think any of us want that image in our heads. Ah, so joy has been sucked out of them. Wow, he is a great way to put it. Yeah. Campidi would also. Oh, okay. We already read that part. He's trying to change that though, saying, "quote So I still try to write fun comics, and I think that's what everybody wants to see." Their good friend Campidi. Campidi would also reveal that a lot of artists don't actually put in the real work. When asked about what advice he would give to aspiring artists, he answered, quote unquote, do the work. He further detailed, quote, you'd be surprised at how many artists say they want to draw comics. In other words, sequential stories, but all they submit are pinups and character sketches, unquote. Well, because I think one of the theories that's out there right now is, as Yellow Flash has put it out there, I think a lot of those who are in the mainstream comic industry right now are using comics as more like a stepping stone to get into Hollywood. I think that's pretty much quote. What's more, so many focus on one over muscled character pummeling another, skipping genuine backgrounds or real expressions and character performance, unquote, he elaborated. Quote, I literally wrote the book on how to do it. Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics. Plus, I have a blog at davidcampidi.com. He concluded, quote, it's all about teaching artists so they don't make the mistakes other artists have made trying to break in, unquote. Sounds like he's trying to be a mentor. He almost sounds like he's speaking from the perspective of somebody who's trying to be a mentor. Hmm. All right, so the Indiegogo campaign for Ascendant, Star Spangled Squadron, has currently raised $38,984 from 374 backers. The official description for the book reads, quote, when firefighter Bill Goddard raced into a blazing building to rescue trapped children, he expected to die. Instead, he became something more than human, the nation's first ascendant, unquote. Now known as American Eagle, Bill must assemble a team of other ascended heroes to defend the country from villainous forces intent on wreaking havoc and destruction. But the process of ascension is fraught with peril, and not everyone emerges with their mind and morality unscathed, unquote, continues. Kind of sounds very similar to what Milestone did with static shock cartoons in that universe. Milestone comics with the whole idea of the Big Bang gas and how people were exposed to it and gained superpowers. So, the description concludes, quote, in America's hour of need, who will answer his call? And can they do what it takes to protect the nation without sacrificing the values they've sworn to uphold? Unquote. Hmm. What do you make of Campiti's assessment of the current state of comic book industry? What do you make of the criticism of artists trying to break into the business? Do you plan to send it? Sounds pretty good. I would agree with his assessment of the comic book industry. You know, as for the, I don't, the art side of it, I can't say as much about that because I'm not as, I'm not an artist. So, um, not as much my cup of tea there. Anyways, so with that, let's go ahead and move on to the next article. Unless of course you guys have more to say on what we just read. Anybody's got anything more you want to add to what we just read? I'll give you a few seconds to see if anything pops up here. If not, then we will move on and read some commentary from Chuck Dixon here. Um, anyways, let's see. All right. Yeah. I see that nobody's commenting on anything. I guess I will move on to the next article then. All right, here. Okay. All right. Renowned Batman writer Chuck Dixon reveals how he would end Batman's story. Article by John F. Trent, published earlier today. Longtime Batman and Detective Comics writer and creator of Bane, Chuck Dixon, recently explained how he would end Batman's story. Dixon's explanation comes as part of his YouTube series Ask Chuck Dixon, specifically in episode 102. He received a question from Aiden Belcher, who asked, quote, there have been a lot of future Batman stories. Everyone's got their own interpretation of what happens to Bruce Wayne later on down the line in his career as Batman. I was curious what your take on this was, unquote. Belcher specifically asked, quote, what do you think happens to Bruce Wayne as time moves on? Do you believe that he would continue being Batman until it killed him? Or do you think that he would eventually retire and pass the cowl on, unquote? As he did in the Batman Beyond canon. Terry McGinnis and all that. Um, Dixon responded, quote, "Well, I would prefer to think that he retired. And actually, I did write a future Batman story, although it was re edited weirdly to be presented as a contemporary Batman story. Quote, Archie Goodwin approached me and asked me if I would like to write a 3-issue mini that was basically toward the end of Batman's career. An imaginary tale, if you will, which is a term they use for a lot of like story. And we'll see this more when we get into like the late 50s as we start making as on when we're doing our historical comic retrospect, when we get to the 50s and late 50s into the 60s, we'll probably be seeing more of these quote unquote imaginary stories. There are a lot of them, particularly in the Batman and Superman lines, that kind of lead off to like the idea of other Earths. um, so we'll see that down the road there more. Let's see. If you will, not necessarily supposed to be in continuity. And I said, in smaller quotes, cool. And Mike McMahon was going to draw it. I'm a big Mike McMahon fan, unquote. Dixon relayed. Anyways, give me a moment, folks. I'm going to go off camera here for a quick second. Then when I get back, I will go ahead and get caught up on the because it looks like there's at least a couple of chats here. And if you haven't already, if you can go ahead and like and share the stream so we can get some more friendly people in here, I'd be appreciated. I will get you guys in a moment. Let me see. First off, let's go ahead and get some music going while I'm off camera. All right. Anyways, I'm back now. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, Max Ham here, or Best Entertainment. Um, hey Mike, just dropping in by to say hi, say hello before work. All right. Well, thanks for dropping in, my friend. Um, if you can like and share the stream as you go, that'd be appreciated as well. See if we get some more friendly people in here. Anyways, let's get back to the article, as it were. All right. So let's see. Where were we? Oh yeah. He then provided details on the story. Quote, so I wrote it as a futuristic story, and in the original version, we saw that Tim Drake had retired as Robin. He was a grown man with children, had a job in the tech industry. He's living in the suburbs, unquote. Quote, and Bruce Wayne comes to him for help, and Tim's like, smaller quotes, no, I left that life behind, unsmaller quote. That scene had to be cut in order to make it fit current continuity. Although the flying cars and ray weapons and bionics and all the weird stuff that happens that Mike McMahon drew so wonderfully goes unexplained because the level of technology and weirdness was not present in the Batman comics at the time, unquote, he recalled. Quote, the other strange anomaly in this 3-issue arc is Hadrian Armstrong, the general, who in the then current Batman continuity was a child, but in this arc is a grown man. Unquote. Well, if it's set in the future, if he was a child in current continuity and you're setting in the future, of course it would likely be that he'd be a grown man. But from what I understand, from what little I know about the character, the general, he was basically a child prodigy, a genius in the art of war, I guess, war strategy. Um, Dixon revealed, quote, I don't know why they didn't want it published the way it was, but sadly, Archie and I had to work together to rejigger it as much as we could after all the art was done. So it's a weird reading experience, unquote. Quote, but I think if you find it and read it with the idea in mind that it was meant to be set in the future, you'll understand what the hell is going on. And I just didn't lose my mind for 3 issues, unquote, he asserted. Returning to the original question, Dixon answered, quote, but yeah, I prefer to think that Batman retired, maybe after a crippling injury or problems resulting from brain breaking him. I like that idea, unquote. Quote, I like the Batman Beyond interpretation that he retires and chooses his successor. I think that's a fitting end so that Bruce Wayne's story goes on despite his having stepped back into the shadows, unquote, he said. Yeah, the Batman Beyond continuity canon is pretty cool. Um, in Dixon's 3-issue miniseries for Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, Batman might be getting older, but he's still uncovering sinister plots and taking the fight to crime even after taking severe beatings. In fact, the book actually ends with Wayne offering to purchase a watchtower that was funded by the Gotham government to house a privatized police force known as the Visual Inc. The implication is that Wayne and Batman still have quite a bit of work to do before they retire or are forced to retire from injuries. I mean, yes, and despite Batman being one of the most physically gifted specimens, um, despite all his training and everything, he's still, at the end of the day, he's still human and can still come to enough damage and the aging process. So let's see. While Chuck isn't writing Batman or Detective Comics anymore, he's still churning out comics and recently launched a Subscribe Star to support his writing ventures for stories like My Sister Supreme, Something Big, and a spy thriller, Alt Hero Q. And let's see, I know he was working with Vox Day on something as well, where a lot of those stories were initially being um, shown on. I think they were Arc Tunes, Archaven Comics Arc Tunes. That's what it was. And we've of course read a number of articles about those here before. What do you make of how Chuck Dixon would end Batman's story? Would you want to see him retire? How do well, I guess they forgot to put in the word you. How do you envision Batman's story? Yeah, I think him retiring um of course, pre-crisis, they had the Golden Age Batman actually did pass away, but that was after he'd actually hung up the cape and cowl. Kind of funny in the Golden Age Batman, the Earth 2 Batman, right? he would eventually retire from being Batman. He'd hang up the cape and cowl, settle down with Selena Kyle. Um, they, of course, had a daughter, Helena Wayne, who became the Earth-2's Huntress, or the second Huntress, because there was another one before her. But you'd have the Huntress and Robin, and on Earth 2, of course, Dick Grayson never relinquished the Robin identity. He maintained it well into his adulthood. Never became Batman. So Bruce Wayne, after hanging up the cape and cowl, would eventually become police commissioner and would eventually be killed in I think a mob shootout or something like that. Um, oh yeah. So anyway, so we're done with that one then. So now it's time to move on to some more articles here. All right. So this is going to be the next one we're going to look at here. This article. And again, if you guys have anything you want to say on the articles here, feel free to do so. And if you want to ask anything here, I will answer it as best I can. All right. So, Grim First Look reveals the series' mind-bending art and gorgeous variants. Exclusive. CBR has an exclusive preview into Boom Studios' Grim #1, which comes from Stephanie Phillips, Flaviano, Rico Renzi, and Tom Napolitano. Article by Brandon Schwer, published 11 hours ago. Wow, look at that. Whoa. I don't think you want to cross that in a dark alley anywhere, would you? Sheesh. All right. Boom Studios revealed a look at the upcoming Grim #1, a new series about death and the afterlife that releases this May. CBR has an exclusive preview into Grim #1, which comes from writer Stephanie Phillips, Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman, artist Flaviano, New Mutants, colorist Rico Renzi, Spider-Gwen, and letterer Tom Napolitano, the Joker. The new series tells a macabre story about a young woman who is given the nearly impossible task of solving her own murder from beyond the grave. Whoa! The synopsis reads, quote, Jessica Harrow is dead, but the journey has only just begun. Sounds very similar to well, again, he wasn't investigating his own death, but it sounds somewhat similar to in some areas to Yu Hakusho. Discover the world of the afterlife where Jessica has been recruited as a Reaper, tasked with ferrying countless souls to their final destination. But unlike the rest of the Reapers, she has no memory of what killed her and put her into this predicament. In order to unravel the mystery of her own demise, she'll have to solve an even bigger one, which is the actual Grim Reaper. Look at that. She's got her scythe and everything there. Oh, she's even placing. It looks like she's placing her own scythe in her body there. Like I said, not necessarily a look you want to probably find yourself looking at in a dark alley anywhere. That crimson red scythe of hers. Make sure you don't get chopped. You have your head chopped off with that thing. There are some panels here. Do 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 do. I had written down here before I continue reading. Let me see if there's any quotes here. See if anybody's got anything more to say here. We still got just two people watching. Looks like. Hopefully, you guys are getting into some of this. Anyways, Grim number one features main cover art created by Flaviano, with cover art by Jenny Frison, Wonder Woman, Mike Del Mundo, Thor, Dave Johnson, Superman, and Jai Lee, Dune, House Atreides, with June Chung. Quote, Grim is dark and brooding and fixated on death, and also one of the most fun series I've ever written, unquote, Phillips said when the project was first announced at Boom Studios. Quote, with demons, reapers, departed souls, and Flaviano's artwork, you'll be dying to read more. Ha ha. Quote, I love to draw new characters and share that excitement of creation with brilliant authors like Stephanie, unquote, added Flaviano. She did an amazing job setting the groundwork for a character that you can't help but love. So it's no surprise that I can't stop drawing Jess and all the Reapers from the mysterious, funny, sad, weird story about the search for your true self and place in the world. Unquote. Grimm is the newest release from Boom Studios' eponymous imprint. The label is home to um, a number of other original titles, series including uh, Berserker by Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent, and Garney. Something is Killing the Children by James Tynion IV and Werther Del Idera. We only find we only find them when they're dead by Al Ewing and Simone DeMeo. Mayo. Alice Ever After by Dan Panosian and Giorgio Letta, and many others. Rim number one will release on May 11th exclusively at local book shop. Visit comic shop locator.com to find the nearest shop near you, or at the Boom Studios website. Digital copies will be available on Comixology, iBooks, Google Play, and Kindle. So there we go with that one. And we got um, one more comics related article to go through um, before we head into the anime portion of the coverage. See what see we're at the 45-minute mark. Still got you guys have anything you'd like to add in there, comment wise, feel free to do so. So with that, let's see now. Um, right, let's move on to this next article. First Captain America comic sells for over $3 million following a bidding war. A rare copy of Captain America Comics #1, which contains Cap's first appearance, sells for a record-setting $3.1 million at Heritage Auction. Brandon Schwer, article by Brandon Schwer, published 3 hours ago. And look, his shield looked a little different back then. It wasn't round. It was more like triangular there. Look, there you've got Captain America punching out Hitler right there. Smashing through Captain America came face to face with Hitler. Now, Captain America's debut comic book, 1941's Captain America Comics #1, sold for over $3 million at Heritage Auction, making it one of the most expensive comic book auction purchases of all time. Now, mind you, at the time, of course, it was probably under the publishing company known as Timely Comics, which eventually became Marvel Comics. Anyway, on April 7th, which is today, earlier today, a near mint copy of Captain America #1 sold for over $3,120,000. Um, Bidding for the comic initially began at 1.8 million. The price immediately jumped to 2.2 million before climbing its way into the $3 million range. According to Tony Fay, public relations, the final $3.1 million price marks it the fourth highest amount ever paid for a comic book at an auction. Quote, every time I looked up during the comic art portion of the session, a new record was falling. And with the comic books, that trend continued. Unquote. Heritage Auctions Vice President Barry Sandoval, quote, we knew this was a selection of truly exceptional material, and we're thrilled bidders agreed with that. Unquote. It's always good to make money. It appears in Captain America from Timely Comics, I guess March of 41 came out. Look at the art there. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Also, Captain America's young ally Bucky. Fantastic Four #1. Captain America Comics #1, which came from Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. So we've been talking a lot about Jack Kirby. I know that RJ had an interview with Glenn Fleming the other day, who did a video on book, you know, regarding the life of Jack Kirby in a way. So we've been talking a bit about Jack Kirby a bit lately. Was the first official appearance of Marvel's iconic Captain America character. The issue also introduces Bucky Barnes, who later goes on to become the Winter Soldier and Cap's longtime nemesis, um, Red Skull. A $3.1 million copy of the comic comes from the San Francisco Pedigree collection, has a 9.4 grade from the Certified Guarantee Company, CGC. Marvel also set another auction record with Captain America at Heritage's Comic and Comic Art Signature Auction. A splash page in 1964's Tale of Suspense number 59, which is Cap's first solo venture in the Silver Age, sold for $630,000, which is the highest price ever paid at auction for a Kirby original. The entire 10-page Tales of Suspense 59 story additionally sold for a combined $975,600 at auction. Other rare editions have also sold for high prices at the auction, which continues until April 10th. So basically through, I believe it'll be yeah, through Sunday, basically. The first Fantastic Four comic, 1961's Fantastic Four #1 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, went for a record-setting $1.5 million. Whoa. Fantastic Four is the first family of Marvel comics, and these results only underscore their importance in the comic book hobby, unquote, consignment director Aaron White said. Additional expensive sales include $288,000 for the original poster art for 1981's heavy metal film, $246,000 for the classic cover of Mad number 9, and $264,000 for Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns number 3. A lot of heavy prices there, huh? Bidding for Heritage Auctions, April 7th to 10th Comics and Comic Art Signature Auction, continues here until April 10th. Source Tony Fay, Public Relations, Heritage Auctions. Alrighty then, so there we go with that article. 10 people left. Shows YouTube that we are here, in fact. Right. So, anyways, with that being said, now it's time to get ready to move on to the anime portion of the news cycle here. All right. So here's the first anime article we're going to look at. All right. Why the Yona of the Dawn anime deserves a second season. Almost 8 years have passed since Yona of the Dawn was first serialized. Time to discuss why it deserves to be renewed for a second installation. Article by Jesse Zhu, um, published 12 hours ago. Yona of the Dawn is a reverse harem fantasy anime set in the historical kingdom of Koka. So, reverse harem basically means okay, so a harem anime is when you have one guy surrounded by a bunch of girls. A reverse harem is you have one girl surrounded by a bunch of guys. That's pretty much the long and the short of it right there. Um, let's see. It is based on the manga of the same name by Mizuho Kusanagi. The anime was decently popular upon its release, though it hasn't risen to mainstream popularity like other shoujo anime such as um, Vampire Knight or Fruits Basket. Yeah, it was a pretty good, and the soundtrack, the openings were very good too. The opening theme songs were very high energy, really get you into it. The manga, however, has displayed continuous popularity and success. Yona of the Dawn manga volumes frequently ranks within the top 10 on the Oricon charts. Basically, I believe the Oricon charts are basically like kind of like what it's Japan's version of things like IVC2 or ICV2, you know, and the like. Anyways, it looks like it's getting a little dark here. I may have to turn on my room light, so I'm gonna go off camera here for a moment. While I'm doing that, I'll put some music on. And when the anime portions. Be right back. Oh, oops, back now. All right. All right. So let's move on here. Let's see. That in of itself is quite hard to achieve, given that most profitable shonen shonen and I think it's with the shonen genres frequently outrank and outsell shoujo manga. I believe it's shonen, not oh yeah, it is shonen. Shonen are shonen mangas are mangas that are basically marketed for boys, for boys, shoujo or marketed for girls. Despite the popularity of the manga, the anime itself has not been renewed for a second season. That said, the series lends itself to its refreshing take on the reverse harem genre, as well as cast of unique and interesting characters. Here's a deeper look into why Yona of the Dawn deserves an enthralling plot and setting. Yona is the sheltered and charming princess of the kingdom of Koka. She spends most of her days in Yuryu Castle, accompanied by her doting father, her childhood friend, and a bodyguard, Song Hat, and her cousin and crush, Suwon. But when she discovers Suwon murdering her father one night, her entire world is shattered as she experiences the feeling of betrayal for the first time, forced to flee with Hack into the outside world. Nona must find the strength to reclaim her kingdom once more, despite knowing that it would bring her into conflict with Yuan, who she once believed was her family and ally, her friend and ally. Spring does not come easily, though, and Yona quickly realizes that she doesn't have the power to protect the people she cares about, let alone have the spring to take back what is hers. It leads her to seek help from a priest who saves them at the bottom of a cliff, tells Yona an old legend in Coca, speaks of the four dragon warriors tasked to protect the first king of Coca, King Fury. Prophecy reveals that Yona, the reincarnation of Fury, could find strength in the four dragon warriors. First season spans 24 episodes that follow Yona and Hack as they search for the four dragon warriors. Season ends just as they find the last dragon warrior, fellow dragon Zuno. It's an unfortunate cutoff point, and the story in the manga only gets deeper and more intriguing past where the Kona of the Dawn subverts reverse harem trope. Unlike traditional reverse harem anime like Amnesia, and Yona surrounds herself with aren't presented as potential love interests. Instead, they play the role of her protector and supporter. As her childhood friend and bodyguard, Hack is one of her closest patriots. He bears witness to her strength and resilience after everything she ever knew is destroyed before her eyes in one night. He chooses to protect her of his own volition, even if he wasn't obligated to as a godson. Although the four dragon warriors are bound by legend to protect Nona, as she is the reincarnation of Fury, they don't all start off willing to be bound to her. However, each of them comes to respect her character and eventually decides to follow her for their own will. Nona herself doesn't attempt to force them to follow her either, creating an equal balance of respect and free will. This in itself sets Nona of the Dawn apart from the reverse pyramid. Cast of unique characters. You're knowing what you right now. Somebody came in and you're liking the shares. Thank you for that. Whoever did that. Characters in this series are undoubtedly the highlight of the story. Pull the whole story together and connect motivation and natural consequences that drive the plot forward. The reverse harem genre can often be boring with a lot of overused tropes. Stories in the genre aren't always the most fleshed out. Most series in this genre follow the trope of a maiden being surrounded by and attended to by multiple males. Yona of the Dawn proves that it is possible to not use this trope, does it very well. Yona is first introduced as a naive and innocent princess, shielded from the cruelties of the outside world. First, it'd be easy to assume that she would easily fall into the maiden in distress role. However, she grows to possess an inordinate strength and maturity as the story progresses. She does not sit back and let the men around her take charge, but fights her own battles, becomes a formidable yet compassionate leader. She is a refreshing representation of human strength. Wow, what a compliment right there. Wan is one of the deepest and most mysterious characters throughout the series. Start, it is not understood why Wan decides to betray both of his childhood friends by murdering Yona's father for his throne. It's often presented as cunning and heartless. Flashback to his childhood with Yona and Ash tell a different story. Eventually revealed that he doesn't hate Yona, nor does he want her dead. In fact, he once protected Yona from being discovered. So why then did he plan such an active betrayal? Questions like these that give Stu Wong much more depth than a traditional villain character. With such compelling characters and a riveting story, it's definitely prime time to give Yona of the Dawn second season it deserves. Fat Goat, hey my friend. How you doing, my friend? You there? Thank you for popping in, my friend. What's up, Bro Daddies? Mike, your sound is cutting out. I gotta go lay down, sick, uh, sick of all week. Uh, I hope you feel better soon. And of course, I'll send you the StreamYard link tomorrow. I hope to be a little bit earlier though, because I'm gonna be working on the electric grid here where I live, earlier. Anyways, hopefully I'm sounding better now. And I'll be right back here, but I'll go off camera here for a moment. I'll be right back. Hour mark there. Right, I'm back. Anything new there? If not, at least we got two people here now. So, anyways, getting ready to move on to the next article here. Mm-hmm. Back on YouTube as well. Yeah. So, anyways, moving on to the next article. The cover here for anime portion. Right here. Ah, right, the most overlooked Ishike anime series. Where to watch them? Iyashike is a genre of anime that slowly becoming more well known, but there's still a good deal of hidden gems that tend to be overlooked. Article by CBR staff published 11 hours ago. Right? Iyashike or healing anime is a genre of anime that's meant to soothe its audience with calming and often heartwarming stories. Ah, that does sound like a very interesting genre form there. Basically, a feel good type anime, I guess. Um, these shows are meant to be relaxing, something to be viewed after a long, stressful day. While certain Shike titles like Laid Back Camp and Natsumi's Book of Friends are pretty well known, there are plenty of hidden gems waiting to be found as well. Below are a few lesser known examples that fall under this relaxing genre. Hmm. My roommate is a cat is a heartwarming tale of companionship. My roommate is a cat tells two stories. That of Subaru, a writer suffering from crippling anxiety, and his recently adopted cat Haru. Each episode is initially told from Subaru's perspective, while the second half is told from Haru's, giving viewers a good sense of the developing bond between both human and cat. Subaru and Haru are still grieving the sudden loss of their own families, but they're able to find comfort in each other and the many friends they make along the way. At its core, it's a heartwarming series about learning how to properly grieve and opening up to new experiences and companionship. Sounds like a pretty interesting anime to watch. My Roommate is a Cat is available to stream on Crunchyroll and Funimation. Poco's Udon World is a touching story of single parenthood. After returning to his hometown to attend his father's funeral, Sota comes across a seemingly homeless child who turns out to not be human, but a Tanaki. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Tanaki is um, kind of a raccoon. It's a raccoon in Japanese folklore, I believe, much like the the nine-tails fox. A Tanuki is said to be quite mischievous, to say the least. After offering him a place to stay, the titular Poco becomes very attached to Sota, who fits comfortably into the role of a parental figure for the young Tanuki. Poco's Udon World follows the highs and lows of Sota's journey toward both adulthood and single parenthood, framing it in a way that's surprisingly believable despite Poco's supernatural origins. Oh, and there's also udon. Lots and lots of lovingly animated, delectable looking udon. I guess what they're trying to tell you is if you watch this anime, you're liable to start trying to eat it through the screen. I guess you're just going. uh, Poco's Udon World is available to stream on Crunchyroll. Let's see what's going on. If there's anything more being said thus far, I guess not. The two of us here watching. Okay. So let's get back to it. Let's see. You and Me, Kimi Toboko is a classic young adulthood experience. You and Me follows a group of childhood friends, the kind-hearted Shun, the serious Kaname, and the laid-back twins Yuki and Yuta. They are later joined by the hyperactive Shizuru, a half German, half Japanese transfer student who manages to fit in snugly with the established group of longtime friends. Hmm, wow, sounds like a cool group. Hmm. The five go through the remainder of their high school life, falling in love, arguing, and playfully ribbing each other. It's the very essence of youth at its peak, right at the cusp between young adulthood and actual adulthood. It's a slow paced coming of age story where nothing much really happens, just boys being boys in the most wholesome way imaginable. You and Me is available to stream on Crunchyroll. You and me and a dog named Boo, try and all come along. Tanaka-kun is always listless. The titular Tanaka is a very lazy boy whose main goal in life is to exert the least amount of effort as possible. He's lucked out in somehow becoming best friends with the nicest guy in school, Ota, who is his opposite in almost every way. Where Tanaka is weak and apathetic, Ota is strong and driven. Somehow they work well as a contrasting duo and make for a unique set of protagonists. Almost like mirror images of each other, right? They're joined by Miyano, an excitable girl who idolizes Tanaka, her best friend Ichizen, a delinquent with a hidden heart of gold, and Shiraishi, the seemingly perfect class representative. Each episode follows Tanaka and friends as they navigate through school life, while Tanaka avoids as much work as possible and his friends somehow make do. Ultimately, nothing much happens, and Tanaka wouldn't have it any other way. Tanaka Kun is always listless, is available to stream on Crunchy. It does sound like a humorous one to get into. All right, so now it's time to get ready to go on to the next story here. So Here we go. Here's the next one right here. We're gonna look at Urusei Yatsura reboot drops new teaser trailer, casting details. A new anime adaptation of Rumiko Takahashi's highly influential 1978 manga reveals a new teaser trailer and additions to its cast. Article by Michael Cerna, published 11 hours. So Urusei Yatsura is a older manga, and actually the manga came out, as it said here, in '78, and the anime originally came out back in, I believe, in '81. So like it ran from like '81 to '86. So it was back in the early '80s. I've seen clips of this. This looks like a nice one, and um, so, and I think it was produced by Studio Pero. The movies, you can find the dub version of the movies, okay, but as for the the anime TV series itself, can't seem to. It's a little bit hard to find the dub of that. So, anyways, Urusei Yatsura announced two new additions to its cast and revealed a short teaser trailer. As reported by Comic Natalie, a new anime reboot of Rumiko Takahashi's classic sci-fi rom-com, that's romantic comedy, in case you didn't realize that, has announced that actors Maya Uchida and Mamoru Miyano are joining its cast as the voices of Shinobu Miyaki and Shutaro Mendo, respectively. New art of each character was revealed alongside photos of their new voice actors. Uchida previously starred in anime such as Food Wars Shogeki no Soma, The Promised Neverland, and My Next Life as a Villainess. All routes lead to doom. Miyano is known for his starring performances in Death Note, Free Iwatobi Swim Club, and Chihaya Furu, and also voices one of the new villains in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Short teaser trailer for the anime was also released, which ends with a short animated glimpse of the series' female lead, Loom. I do believe that when they did bring it to the States, you know, it did get shown like on some of the international channels, even the dub version. I think Urusei Yatsura was, when it was brought to the States, was known as Loom the Invader Girl, I believe. UI All Star Shinobu Miyaka. Haro Mendo. The new adaptation is being animated by David Production, studio behind JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime. The series is being directed by Hideo Takahashi, Platinum End, and Yatsuhiro Kimura, who directed JoJo's Golden Wind season. Takahashi's iconic characters are being adapted to animation by character designer Yuko Kakihara, who previously worked on the Aquatope on White Sand, Hiroshi Kamiya, who voices Levi in Attack on Titan, will play the series' main protagonist, Ataru, while Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro's Sumire Uesaka will voice Loom. Urusei Yatsura was the first hit from the celebrated manga author Rumiko Takahashi, who would later go on to create equally iconic manga such as Rama One Half and Inuyasha. The series tells the story of Ataru Moriboshi, a perverted high school student who is selected by the alien Oni race to participate in a game of tag that will determine the fate of the Earth in order to stop the Oni from invading the Earth. Ataru has to touch the horns on the head of their princess Lum within 10 days. Right. The series has already been confirmed to run for 4 seasons and will adapt the best known stories from Takahashi's original manga, which ran from 1978 to 1987. Show will air in Japan as part of Fuji TV's Noi Tamina programming block. Um, Details about the show's international release have yet to be announced. The new show will be the second animated adaptation of Takashi's manga. The original anime was broadcast from 1981 to 1986 and was produced by a trio of studios that includes Pierrot, which would later go on to animate Naruto. Um, Also, Studio Pierrot animated Yu Yu Hakusho and Bleach as well. Um, and Studio Dean, which is known for its work on series such as the 2001 Fruits Basket series, and Konosuba. Oh, there we go with that one. Oh, there we go with that one. So, getting ready to move on to the next article. Give you guys a few moments to see if you want to comment on what we've read so far, what we've gone through so far. All right, let's see. We're at hour 29 here. I just want to see if you guys have anything you want to say about articles we just read. And with that, we will move on. Move on to the next article then. As always, feel free if you guys see or hear anything that catches your interest, feel free to comment on it. And if you got any questions, I'll try to answer them as best I can. Let's see. Let's see now. Shoujo demand is surpassing available anime franchises, says Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll predicts huge growth for shoujo anime as multiple romance series continue to overperform with underserved audiences across the world. Article by Land Score, published 6 hours ago. So yeah, so again, some of the stuff that's been coming out, like from Colleen Klingenbeer the other day, and all that, would seem to be contradicting what's been actually going on. Crunchyroll believes there should be more shoujo anime to satisfy its growing fan base in the West. As reported by Anime News Network, Crunchyroll's chief customer officer, Asa Suehira, gave a presentation on changing trends in viewership at a business seminar for the streaming company's Japanese partners. Suihira emphasized the thriving market for shows with a primarily female demographic, noting that shoujo anime tended to overperform in international markets. According to Crunchyroll executive, according to the Crunchyroll executive, this trend is caused by the large population of female fans in Western nations, as well as the relatively small supply of series created to specifically appeal to them. Quote, in the West, where female anime fans were underserved with relevant content historically, shoujo, josei, and even BL, that's boys love titles, are showing stronger performances than expected, unquote, he said. Suehira cited the beloved romance anime Fruits Basket as an example of the market's strong potential for growth. Shoujo anime has remained popular since its debut in the late 1990s and received renewed interest when it was remade in 2019. Fruits Basket remains one of the most popular anime and manga franchises to this day, with 2021's Fruits Basket the final landing in the user generated top 10 rankings of My Anime List and winning Anime of the Year in the 8th Anime Trending Awards. Modern romance anime have also experienced a rise in popularity coinciding with the increased demand for shoujo titles. Series such as Komi Can't Communicate, Horimiya, and Kaguya-sama Love is War earning sizable female fan bases in Western audiences. Kaguya-sama Love is War has remained extremely popular over the course of its broadcast run. Anime will return for a third season on April 8th, which is tomorrow. Additional data also suggests that male viewers are branching out into genres that were traditionally categorized under the shoujo umbrella. While shonen and battle action anime still stand as the unchallenged giants of the industry, Suehira revealed that romantic comedies are now pulling in large male audiences. Well, yeah, there are a lot of us guys, a lot of us single guys out there who do want to see cute girls that maybe we want to get to know. You know, I mean, there's a lot of lonely single guys out there. You know, granted, that's how you end up with neats and stuff like that. But um, but it's see. As shown by the romantic comedy My Dress Up Darling, which has been one of the most popular shows of 2022 so far, Crunchyroll viewership data also showcased a growing following for other genres as well, such as slice of life, comedy, and drama. Crunchyroll is now one of the biggest distributors of anime outside of Japan. Sony, which actually owned anime localization company Funimation, purchased Crunchyroll in 2021. Funimation's stable of content, which includes over 800 anime titles, was recently consolidated onto Crunchyroll's platform, creating what the company calls the largest streaming library anime in the world. So there we go with that one. Anyways, get ready to move on to Next article. Let me see. How many more do we? Oh, yeah, we have just one more article to go through here, and we'll. So, where are we at time wise? An hour 30, hour 36 here. All right, so here's the last anime article we're going to go through tonight. Okay, I'm on Recipe for Happiness promises the sweetest slice of life in years. Unlikely Duo stars in Daimon, the sweetest slice of life anime of spring 2022, for fans of sweetness and lightning and are fans of sweetness and lightning and Barakamon. Article by Lara Adams, published 6 hours ago. Oh, okay, never mind then. I didn't think this was going to have spoilers. So I guess we are done with the with the reading of articles, anyways. As that one they just said had spoilers in it. So we don't do spoilers here. So we are now we're at the hour 38 mark, so it'd probably be a good time to start winding down. I do thank everybody for being here. So before we go, of course, it would be a good time to check out this day in Nietzsche history. History. Sounds like all right. So without any further ado, today is Thursday, April the 7th, um, 2022. Let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. And the first stop we're going to go back to is 1947, as on this date, 75 years ago today, first issue of Miss America magazine from Marvel Comics, which at the time was calling, well, just for this one was calling itself Miss America Publishing Corporation, went on sale on this date in 1947, 75 years ago. Went on sale for 10 cents on newsstands for 64 pages. Now, my guess is here in this particular case, the Miss Americas that were portrayed here were those who were like in the Miss America pageant, not the because I do know that Marvel had a Miss America hero, Quality had a Miss America hero, but this is not a superhero title, I believe, based on what I'm even from what little I'm seeing here. This is more likely kind of like, okay, let us introduce you to Miss America here, to these lovely ladies who participate in the Miss America contest. So I think that's basically what this was. That's my guess on it, anyways. Anyways, so with that, 75 years ago today, the first issue of Miss America from Miss America Magazine Corporation, um, which was a branch of um, Marvel. Um, went on sale on this date 75 years ago today. And now, getting ready to move on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. I'm just double checking something here. All right, so let's get on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. On this date, 25 years ago today, in 1997, the anime, the Kendaichi case files, also known as the Files of Young Kendaichi, premiered on this date 25 years ago, back in 1997. It was produced by, I can find the, it was produced by Toei Animation, and originally premiered on Yomiuri TV, Shoujo TV, and Nippon TV. So on this date in 1997, um, 25 years ago today, the anime, the Kendaichi case files of the Kendaichi case files, also known as the Files of Young Kendaichi, um, premiered on this date in 1997. Awesome. Okay. Just waiting for the signal to get a little stronger here. There we go. All right. So let me see. Oh, wait. Actually, let me just see something here. Let's see. 2007, 2002. Okay. All right. So just checking on some stuff there. All right. So on this date in 2002, 20 years ago today, the animated show, um, Deke Entertainment produced Super Duper Sumos, premiered on Nickelodeon on this date in 2002. So Super Duper Sumos premiered on this date in 2002, 20 years ago, on Nickelodeon. And finally, on this date in 2007, Combat Zone Wrestling held its Out with the Old, In with the New event from the new Alhambra Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. CZW was another kind of like hardcore type wrestling federation, modeled after ECW. So in the main event saw Justice Payne retain the CZW World Heavyweight title over Drake Younger. Mitch Ryder defeated Necro Butcher. Eddie Kingston, currently a part of AEW right now, defeated Chris Hero in a loser leaves town match. Uh, Team known as Blackout, Ruckus, and Sabian defeated the team of Derek Frazier and Niles Young to retain the CZW Tag Team Championship. Brain Damage defeated Danny Havoc. DJ Hyde retained the CZW Iron Man Championship over Toby Klein. Vortex defeated Jigsaw to become the new CZW Junior Heavyweight title holder. Any Team Andrew, Andy Summer, and Drew Gulak, that's currently in the WWE right now, defeated JC Ryder and Ryan McBride. So on this date, 15 years ago, CZW held its Out with the Old, In with the New event from the new Alhambra Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So there we go. So that's all that we have for you guys tonight. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget, tomorrow night, of course, will be our weekly look back at comics history. We'll be looking at comics that went on sale in December 1938 in Centaur Comics. That goat, if you're still around, if you're still listening, I will be sending you the streamer link probably earlier than usual, as I said, because we're going to be having some, you know, our electric company is going to be doing some work around here tomorrow. So, anyways, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope you all have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.